welcome back to my vlog. It's been a while because I've been working on some back-end administrative stuff about the practice. We're going through some big changes right now that I am so excited, and I'm just sort of like chomping at the bit to tell you about, but I've got to kind of keep it under wraps for a little bit longer. So because of that, I've been sort of delaying my vlog thing, my little vlogosphere, and my small but very loyal vlog following. I apologize for that. But there's been something in the news this week that kind of hits home on a lot of aspects that I really wanted to talk about. And I felt that I'd come in on a Saturday and sort of talk about it to you guys and rant a little bit and maybe teach somebody out there about a serious problem that's often overlooked. So I think we've all heard of a guy named Rodrigo Alves, and he's better known as kind of like the human Ken doll. I remember hearing about him on an episode of Botched, and on that episode, basically he saw Dr. Terry DeBro and Dr. Paul Nassif, and he had multiple nose surgeries and he wanted it fixed. He wanted previous botched work to be fixed. And Dr. DeBro and Dr. Nassif turned this patient down. It's a high-profile patient who's willing to spend a lot of money on surgery, and it takes a good doctor to say no when the risks of surgery outweigh the benefits. So this brings up three really important points that I love talking about. Number one, proper diagnosis of a patient and a disease, something called body dysmorphic disorder. Number two, basically why you should steer clear of surgeons or doctors who call themselves surgeons who offer you services that other doctors say you shouldn't do. And number three, a little bit of a history and an anatomy lesson about revision rhinoplasty, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about. So first and foremost, this guy, Rodrigo. I don't want to sound judgmental, I don't know him, and this is certainly not an attack on him, but he has a psychiatric illness, and whether or not that illness is depression or another mood disorder or just body dysmorphic disorder, he is attempting to undergo innumerable surgeries to achieve an unattainable result. And his, basically his perception of himself has changed and will continue to change, and he is getting some perhaps adrenaline or euphoric rush after each of these operations that lasts and provides some sort of temporary relief of his issue. And then once everything heals, and in his case it gets worse, he's going to come back extra hard to try and achieve that result. So in his case, he has had multiple operations to make his nose smaller so he looks like the human Ken doll, which is, obviously an exaggeration of what a normal male looks like. And I'm sure at one point he looked good, but then he wanted to take it further and further and further. And we see this all the time in filler patients and things like that, where people just overdo it. Well, with surgery, sometimes there's no turning back. And as you make your nose smaller and smaller and smaller, sometimes there's not enough cartilage to make your nose a nose anymore. And I think that's what's the case with him. So inappropriately diagnosed illness. It's not that he has a nose that needs to be smaller or even corrected at this point. He has a psychiatric illness that warrants further intervention with either a board-certified psychiatrist or some sort of cognitive behavioral therapy to truly understand what's going on back there. Number two, I think the Botched episode, which is at least a year ago, I don't remember when it aired, is a really good lesson on how to choose a doctor and how to avoid a doctor. There are patients, for example, who come to me asking for BodyTite, which is a scarless radiofrequency tightening alternative to either facelift or arm lift or tummy tuck, and I will turn them down. I will lose business. There are a million other BodyTite providers who will gladly take on these patients. I will turn them down if I feel that they are not a candidate for the procedure, because I know in the end they're not going to be happy. And even if it's not a risky procedure, I am not going to be benefiting these patients by giving them any risk at all. Any operative intervention is a risk. Any non-operative intervention is a risk. Even driving to the doctor's office is a risk. So if a board-certified plastic surgeon, for example, says you should not do X, Y, Z, and he or she offers those strategies, don't find another surgeon who will take you on as a patient. I think you should really heed the advice of that surgeon or doctor and not do whatever it is you guys are discussing. For example, Dr. Nassif and Dr. DeBro did a very big thing on a nationally aired program by turning down a very high-profile patient who clearly is not afraid to spend money on surgery. And they said to him specifically, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, if you do one more operation, your nose will turn black and fall off. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And this is on a bit, just a quick review of the news headlines and things like that. But at some point he developed a hole in his nose which required additional surgery. He had necrosis. He had a major problem. And now it seems that everything's intact again, but the headlines are his nose is sinking into his face. Human Ken doll's nose is sinking into his face. So that kind of brings me to my third point. What's going on with him? So if you have enough surgery on your nose to reduce, the cartilage underneath your skin starts to basically erode. You are cutting away at it. Nothing else is holding up the skin. And think of the nose as a tent. The cartilage under that tent is holding it up. It's pitching that tent. And the more surgery you do, the more compromised that cartilage gets. So the tent, the pole that's holding on that, basically holding the tent up, is starting to collapse and come down. And then the nose is going to start to sink. Now we have a bony vault up here, and we have a cartilaginous vault down here. So where does the nose sink into the face most often? It's right here, right underneath the bone. You can feel it on yourself. Right down here is when it starts to become mobile. That's your cartilage. When it goes, you get something called a saddle nose, because from the side, your nose will cave in right here. It's an awful deformity, and it's really ugly, and it's hard to fix. And you need major surgery, like taking out a rib and using that as basically 2x4s underneath your skin to reconstruct your nose. So that is something that not many plastic surgeons offer, and I'm sure the plastic surgeons who are willing to take on this patient are not comfortable using a rib to help reconstruct his nose. Rib graft in rhinoplasty, both primary and reconstructive, is a huge part of my practice, and I truly believe in it. But unfortunately, there are not many rhinoplasty surgeons who offer it, and the ones who are willing to take on this high-profile patient as their own probably are unlikely to be experts in the field of reconstruction and revision rhinoplasty or nose jobs. So this guy has a saddle nose deformity. He has lost the cartilage support of his nose, and the scarred skin is overpowering the underlying framework. He's gonna need a major operation, such as a rib graft, to give him some hope of restoring at least a normal appearing nose, if not an ideal nose, which he continues to seek and probably will never achieve. So it's a really sad story. It teaches us a lot. It kind of brings everything I talk about in my weekly vlogs together. Choose ethical and careful and humble plastic surgeons who are the experts in their field. If they say no, take that advice seriously and don't find somebody who will offer the same procedure for either less money or will offer it at all. Number 3, saddle nose deformity is a very hard thing to fix. If you do have saddle nose deformity, or if you're, for example, an ethnic patient and you want a longer nose, find a plastic surgeon who feels comfortable harvesting a rib and using that to rebuild your nose. Not many people can do it, and things like implants and things like that are not always the solution. So there's a lot about, basically a lot going on. This isn't the happiest post I've ever had, but I will say there is really good news coming in our own practice, and I can't wait to share it with you. I can't do it today, I promised I wouldn't, but we've got some exciting new changes going on in our own practice, and I can't wait to share them with you. So, lessons learned today: number 1, choose a humble, board-certified, thoughtful expert surgeon. Number 2, body dysmorphic disorder occurs in 7 to 12% of our patients, and it's something that a qualified, thoughtful plastic surgeon will take, really special care to avoid and to manage appropriately. And number 3, saddle nose deformity is a kind of fun challenge for me to fix, but if you have it, it is a major operation to fix it, and few surgeons can confidently offer that to you. So, and then fourth of all, obviously, exciting news next week. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening to my rant about Rodrigo Alves and his unfortunate condition, and I will see you next week. Bye.